Welcome back, folks, to the random video blog where every single Friday I, Graham, Jason Matthews, talk about the wrestling world, share a few stories, etc., etc. And the funny thing is, I've had this headline sitting in the can for a long time. Not this video, I'm filming this the week before it goes up. But this headline, you know wrestling is fake, right? In quotation marks. I've had this on my list of potential topics to talk about here in the video blog for at least well over a year now, because I have all these topics that I want to talk about, but it's not really the right time, or other things come up, whatever. So I've had this sitting in the potential topic list here for the video blogs on Fridays for a long time, and I thought there was no real better time to do it than this week for this reason alone. Now, this is the portion of the video blogs where I do share a story. So like I said, I'm filming this the week before this goes up, and I think it was yesterday. I'm filming this on the Thursday, the 28th of January. This is going up on the first Friday of February. But during my first week of classes, I had a class. It's an audio class. It's a very small class, and I'm a small class-oriented person. I don't really like large crowds. I'm not a people person. I don't like people, to be honest with you. At least not stupid people. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people my age that are stupid. I'm not saying everyone's dumb, but there are a lot of people, especially at the college level, that are just not too bright. And I'm not talking about academically. I'm just talking about just typical common sense. But that's another rant for another day. So I'm having one of my classes this past week, an audio class. And my teacher, who's my advisor, and I've had him for the past 3 years now. I'm a junior. I've known him for almost 3 years now. He's a great guy. I mean, now only maybe a month in from when I knew him, I told him, or at least, not told, like outright told him, but he kind of discovered I was a wrestling fan, and we kind of talked about potential wrestling podcasts and stuff, and that's what kind of, helped me and, inspired me to do Wrestle Rant Radio and all the other things I currently do from an audio perspective, and he was kind of like the mastermind behind that a couple years ago, so he knows, he understands. He's not one of those people that looks down on wrestling. He once was a wrestling fan. That's traditionally the way it is, that people who, even though they don't watch nowadays, even if they did watch, a couple decades ago, if they're an adult now, and I'm talking about like in 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, even my grandparents used to watch a long time ago, like the Gorgeous George days, and they don't really look down on it, but they can kind of understand why I like it to an extent. Obviously, wrestling has changed a lot. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, this guy used to watch wrestling to an extent, not like a hardcore fan, said he was a Hulk Hogan fan, back in the 80s and whatever, so he knows. So we're going around the classroom, and we're talking about our backgrounds, our interests and stuff. And I've done this in pretty much every one of my classes so far this semester, so far this week. And I don't go like, oh, I'm a wrestling fan, whatever. I don't hide it. I don't shy away from it. Anyone who knows me, I wear wrestling shirts probably 90% of the time. I'm not right now, and I probably should have worn my Mr. Anderson shirt. Pro wrestling is real. People are fake, and it'll come into play in a couple minutes when I talk about that portion of the video of this story. But I probably should have worn that for this video. But more often than not, I don't hide from wrestling, because that's who I am. That's, my life pretty much is wrestling. And for some people, then, it's sad, whatever. I mean, I don't really fucking care. Like I've talked about before, and I'll get to that soon enough. So anyway, going back to what I was saying in terms of the class and whatever. So I didn't really come out saying I was a wrestling fan, but he was asking me about like what I do, and he was going around the classroom to each person. When it came time for me, I said I run my own podcast and write articles, and I've done it for 6-7 years now. I've been doing it for a long time, for someone my age anyway. And he asked me what it was about, and he knows exactly what he was about, and what I do and what I like, and my passion, my fandom for wrestling. So it's not really a surprise to him. But the exercise, the activity was that he was trying to help the class understand, if that makes sense. So I was like, wrestling, it's a wrestling podcast. And he's like, what do you mean by wrestling? Like, what kind of wrestling? And I'm like, it's a wrestling podcast. What else do you want to know? We started going back and forth for about a minute. And then some random girl in the back of the class goes, you talking about WWF? I'm like, yeah, professional wrestling. Yeah, that's what I meant by that. She's like, that stuff's fake, right? That stuff's fake. And they're like, or that stuff's fake, isn't it? So I'm like, yeah. So I pretty much went off, not on her, just basically the class. It was kind of funny. So I was talking to my teacher. I mean, it was funny afterwards, because he emailed me and he thought he was harassing me just based off the answers that I was giving him. And I was giving them a little forcefully, because I was pissed. Not pissed, but I was a little annoyed just by her answer. And I don't really typically let it get to me, but it was a big class setting. So not that I was embarrassed or anything, but I was like, okay, I'm going to fucking show you people what this shit is all about. So I was telling them, like, this is who I am. This is what I do. It's no more fake than your favorite TV show or probably one of your best friends. And this is one of these girls that I've never been friends with. I had her in a class last year. I know exactly who she is and what she's about. I don't know her. I've never interacted with her, so I can't make any assumptions, but I know the type of person that she is. Again, I'm stereotyping, but just from the brief interactions that I've had with her and from what I've seen with her, I know exactly what she's about, so I don't really typically associate myself with people like that. So I'm like, okay, so that's how it's going to be. And I get this question all the time from people from all different age groups, especially people that are in high school or in college like myself, or even, older people that don't really know how to express their fandom for wrestling. And I've talked about this before. I put out a video, I think on July 17th, my favorite day of the year. I've done video blogs and why that is in the past, so I won't talk about it here. But I did a video blog last year talking about why wrestling fans are the best fans in the world. And that's not to slight any other fan base for sports or TV shows. I'm not trying to start a war here. But just talking about why wrestling fans are so great, because we know exactly what we are. We don't. It's not like we don't know it's fake. Like, people, when they say that, it's just they don't realize how insulting they come off. Not even how insulting, just how dumb they come off in saying something like that. To insinuate that we don't know that it's scripted. Especially for someone at my level. Maybe at a younger level I could see that, like, middle school even, or even below that, elementary school, grade school, whatever. When they're kind of growing up and they don't quite know yet. When I started watching in 2008, I knew right from the get-go that it was fake, that it was scripted. That didn't, deter me from not watching. It didn't prevent me from not watching wrestling, because I watched it for the action, for the storytelling, the feuds, the drama, the emotion, stuff like that. I've talked about it before, why I watch wrestling. I don't need to tell you that, why I watch it. But it's about the naysayers, the people that say it's fake and whatever. But like I said, to insinuate to someone that they don't think that they do think that wrestling is real from the perspective that the matches aren't predetermined is just so stupid. It makes them seem more stupid than it does you, if that makes sense. People just don't think before they speak. That's what I'm saying. I don't hate people. I kind of do, but I just hate dumb people, disrespectful people, dumb, disrespectful people, essentially. But the purpose of this video that I wanted to do, like I said, a lot of people have asked me, so how do you deal with people that say wrestling is fake? Well, thankfully, and I haven't had to do this video before because I rarely ever get that. And if people are thinking it, I don't know, but no one has ever outright told me, like, oh, that's dumb. Like when I told them I like wrestling, they might be thinking that they think what I do is dumb, but again, you don't have to worry about those people. Do not concern yourself with the people that don't understand wrestling or don't understand you, because more often than not, odds are you'll never be able to convince them to understand who you are, what you're all about, where you're going, why you like wrestling, and why you do what you do. You will never convince those people or likely ever change their minds. You will never make them a wrestling fan or make them like you or something, because it doesn't matter. Like you, dislike you, as long as they respect you, that's really all that really matters. Or, not even that. As long as they don't bother you, like they are just inconsequential. People like that don't get you don't matter. They don't matter to you, so why worry about what they think about your passion for wrestling? I know I'm all over the place. I'm trying to make sense of this, but there's a lot of people out there who will always say, oh, wrestling's fake. Why do you like that? That's stupid. That's below you. That's, the scum of the earth. I mean, well, there's a lot worse things that you could possibly do. If you have a passion for what you do, then why criticize other people who do have passions? And that's the thing, too, and I was going to mention that. I mean, in going around the class, and I was talking about it, I went off, I said, this is what I do. I get paid for what I do. I've been doing this for 6 years since I was a freshman in high school while you were fucking cheating up people's tests or something like that. I'm not to brag or anything like that, but I've been doing this for a long time. Not a long time. I'm only 20, and I'm not saying I've been doing this forever or whatever. I'm not better than anyone else. But I'm saying I do this because I love it, and it's what makes me happy. And then when we go around the corner and we go over to her and what she likes, she has no passion for anything. She has no idea what she wants to do with her life. She has no idea where she's going. And that's my point. People who criticize you for what you're passionate about, whatever it may be, wrestling or something else. Like even people who like I know bronies and stuff like that, which, also get a bad rap. I'm not one personally. I never will get into that stuff, but They get a very bad rap for being weird or whatever. I have never trashed people like that. I've never trashed people who like it. I've never trashed even people who like sports or haven't in a long, long time, because people trash wrestling all the time. So what right do I have to criticize people for liking what they do? I don't care. If it's what makes them happy, that's really all that matters. I've said that from the get-go. I've said that from the start. Whatever makes you happy, let that make you happy. And just let what makes me happy make me happy. And that's professional wrestling. But like I'm saying, the people who often will criticize you for having a passion for pro wrestling and even pursuing a career in it and becoming a wrestler, or saying, oh, you can't do that, you shouldn't do that, are often the people who, A, were never successful, B, aren't successful, or C, don't know what they're passionate about or have no direction in life, because they don't have a passion themselves, so they just kind of let their feelings off on other people. That's kind of like the idea of negativity in a nutshell. Basically, people that tend to be negative are people that have their own issues and reflect it on other people. I'm not saying people that give you constructive criticism have their own issues, but, more often than not that you get the wrongful hate that you don't feel like you deserve is more a reflection of them than it is of you. But like I was saying before, I mean, those people, I'm not, to basically just kind of give the message, what argument do you give the people that wrestling is fake? And you can tell them, it's absolutely real. They get hurt as much as any other NFL, MLB, NHL, hockey player, any other sport out there, acting, whatever, that they, it's real. Every bit of the bumps that they take is 100% real. The matches may be scripted. You may not like the storytelling, the scripted nature of it. It's no different than any other TV show that you watch, and it's a business at the end of the day. You cannot get a job, unless you're going to do, script writing or something for The Walking Dead. At the end of the day, that's a fandom, which is great. I'm not criticizing people who like that show or any other TV show at the end of the day, but you can't get a job doing that. Wrestling you can, because it's a fucking business. You know what I mean? So people just really have no right to kind of go off on wrestling and wrestling fans, and they're often kind of the butt of the joke. And I think it's kind of changed over time. Wrestling is a lot more accepted now than it ever was. And people, I talked about in my previous video, I won't go in depth here. We're already kind of 12 minutes in. I don't want to go on a longer rant than I already have. But people who you don't have to express your fandom for wrestling. It really doesn't matter. Like, if you want to go out, wear a wrestling t-shirt like I do all the time, who cares? There is no law against that. There is no one to tell you that you can't do that, unless you have like a school uniform or something. There's no one telling you that you can't wear a wrestling shirt to school or out in public or home or whatever. Who fucking cares? Because the people that will judge you for something like that have their own issues, and their thoughts are completely irrelevant as it is. You are still the same person that you were before they thought that, before you found out that they thought that, or whatever. You are still there in the flesh, still 100% healthy, and you're the same person. They have not affected you whatsoever. As long as you don't let it affect you, it won't affect you, because who cares? At the end of the day, the people that think that are just completely irrelevant, as are their opinions. So don't worry about it. Love wrestling for you, for whatever reasons that you wanted to love wrestling. You don't have to express your fandom, like I said. If you don't want to express it and you don't want to go out and show people that you like wrestling, that is your prerogative. That is absolutely up to you. But I am here to tell you that to like wrestling is okay. I mean, it's kind of an obvious message, but people will try to make you feel bad by saying, wrestling is fake, right? And you could say, yeah, well, it's scripted. And again, you can get in a whole argument to talk about the injuries they have and why it's scripted, and how wrestling has changed over the years, and the lack of steroids, or at least not as much as there once was, and why wrestling is not what the typical perception of people that people think it is, that people perceive it to be, if that makes any sense. You can get in that argument if you like. Again, that is your prerogative, but I am here to tell you that their opinions are irrelevant, and you are just wasting your time in engaging in an argument with those people, because their opinion, it's not, everyone has a right to their opinion, but it shouldn't have to affect you. You don't have to listen to them. Who cares? You shouldn't care about them. It doesn't fucking matter. At the end of the day, whatever makes you happy, pursue that, and that is pro wrestling. Don't engage in the argument. You're just wasting your time. They're irrelevant. Just focus on you. Just do you, be you, whatever makes you happy. So I'm just here to tell you that. I've talked about it many a time before here on the video blog, and I just thought it was relevant with what happened to me personally last week, and it kind of not got me heated, but it got me thinking about other people who might have had similar experiences, and I figured I would share that with you for anyone who has gone through a similar thing and was wondering, oh, what should I do if someone said that to me? You don't say, oh yeah, you know wrestling's fake, right? Oh no, it's news to me. I mean, you can be sarcastic if you want, who cares? You can get in a whole fight with them if you would like. But just don't worry about them. Just go on with your life, do you, because odds are those are the people that won't go anywhere in life anyway. So as always, guys, thank you for watching the video blog. I know I tend to go off on lengthy rants. We're already 15 minutes in here, and that's kind of it. For any long-time viewers of the video blog know that I typically do go long with these videos just because, I don't know, I just kind of go off on a tangent. But as always, guys, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. All support is greatly appreciated. Have a fantastic February. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.